it feels if you're a Saints fan or a sports fan in the state of Louisiana. You don't even have to be a giant Saints fan. You just have to appreciate greatness. Sean Payton, like a scorned lover, is how we feel. Broke up with all of us yesterday out of the blue. We found out just a couple of days ago he might be seeing somebody else, and then yesterday dropped the hammer and said this relationship's not working anymore. And he breaks up with the New Orleans Saints. He didn't retire. He didn't retire. Don't believe any of that. He broke up with the New Orleans Saints. He left the Saints for a prettier, younger, hotter lover. That's exactly what he did. And we'll find out in a year who he decides to date. He's going to be underground for a year. We'll get into all of that, what it means for the Saints, what's next for the Saints, where do we think Sean Payton will end up, because you're fooling yourself if you think he's not headed to, coaching somewhere, heck, maybe even this year. I mean, this is January. He says, well, I'm not feeling it. I'm not up to it right now. It doesn't mean that he's not going to feel it in July. So I'm telling you, folks, just prepare your heart, guard your heart, put your walls up, because it's coming. Also, we'll get into, the ramifications, the fallout, some of the tweets, some of the former players. We've heard from the governor, Harry Connick Jr., everybody across the landscape of the NFL has had a reaction to Sean Payton. Also, I'll ask Tommy, does this mean it's the end of the Saints? Are they headed to mediocrity on an annual basis now, without Drew Brees, without Sean Payton, with no real franchise quarterback, with a cap situation that's terrible? We'll get into all of that and a whole lot more. Plus, we'll just touch on at the end a little bit about LSU men's and women's basketball. We'll talk more about them tomorrow. Today, mostly Sean Payton. Please like and share this video. Hit your friends up with it. We'll be bringing in TK, who's joining us as he does every Wednesday from Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Tommy, everywhere I went yesterday after the news broke about Sean Payton, everybody had a reaction. Everybody wants to talk about it. What are they saying at Court Street Cafe?
Well, same thing. I mean, it's dominated all conversations I've had, amongst a few other things. And, Ronnie, I thought he'd be the coach of the Saints in 2022. I said that Monday on Sports Shorts Daily, but I was wrong, and he's not going to be the coach of the Saints. And, Ronnie, I watched every minute, 92-minute press conference. I watched every word, didn't answer the phone, wasn't checking email on the side. I listened, and I understand now. I get it as to why he did. I thought he expressed himself wonderfully, genuinely, and I get it. And I have a lot more respect for him. He's a little smarter than I thought. Not that I didn't think he was smart, but very cerebral and very powerful in ability to lead people. I think he's more of a marketable coach now after that 90-minute press conference. And, yeah, I want some odds on him being the Cowboys coach in 2023. I really do. But it may not happen. But, man, what a legacy. He delivered a Super Bowl to New Orleans. I was a little kid when the Saints were born. And I can remember hoping for a winning season, hoping for a shot at the playoffs, hoping for a playoff game. He delivered a Super Bowl to people in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Saints fans everywhere. And that'll never be taken away. And, it was almost refreshing to see him be so honest and so open as he was in that press conference. And, they put a statue up, put him on the Ring of Honor, whatever the Saints do, and now they've got to turn the page as an organization. Dennis Lauscher, Mickey Loomis, and Gail Benson, they got to figure out their next step rather quickly.
As far as what's next for the New Orleans Saints, before we do that, let's talk about, Sean Payton here for a minute. Obviously, he deserves to do whatever he wants to do. He's welcome to do whatever he wants to do. But, I would say that this – I don't want to say it kind of came out of nowhere, but I think this past year, you saw him. He's probably gained 30 pounds, versus what he looked like in the past. The stress of this past year was just absolutely crazy, with the first month of the season having to be on the road because of Hurricane Ida. And then you deal with COVID throughout the year. Then you deal with 4 quarterbacks and 4 kickers. But somehow with duct tape, he's able not only to have a winning season, but think about it. They beat Tampa Bay and in the most dominant fashion ever in Tampa, swept them for the year, shut down Aaron Rodgers. I mean, and well, now we look in the playoffs, Tommy, and maybe it wasn't that big of a win because neither one of them made it to the championship game. But just giant win franchise against your rivals. And at the end of the year, in the playoffs, and then the Rams break your heart and give up 17-point lead on the final day after you handled your business in Atlanta. I just think it just was so much that if it were the old days, if it were the 80s when Bum Phillips was the coach of the Saints, and, guys took a 2-3 month, took 3 months off or 4 months off in the off season when the season was over. And then they showed up in the summer and said, let's get in shape and play. Like if it were those old days, I think Sean would be fine. He could go home for the spring. We'll see him after the draft or something, or see him in June. But now that's not how it is. There are no off seasons. There's a week or two off here or there in the off season, but there's no just take months off and recharge your batteries. And unfortunately, the Saints are going to pay for that. I think he's going to recharge his batteries, Tommy, sooner than we think. And then it's really going to be awkward watching your hero and your franchise Hall of Fame coach coaching for somebody else.
Well, Ronnie, I think my observation, I think he'd be a hell of a general manager. His ability to lead people, and he used the word alignment like Brian Kelly did when he said why he came to LSU. I think his ability to put together an organization, I think in his talent evaluation, I mean, Marcus Colston, 7th round supplementary pick, and I could go on and on. But I think he'd be a hell of a general manager if there's something he wanted to do. Now, he said yesterday he's interested in TV. Talked to Drew Brees about it Monday night on the phone because Drew's obviously now got some TV experience. So he's interested in that, and he's already going to be at the Super Bowl this year due to a marketing contract with some company he reps. So, and they're going to pull him on the set. They're already working on that today, the different, radio and television platforms. So, hey, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. But he delivered the New Orleans Saints a Super Bowl. The onside kick to start the third quarter that worked, and they beat Peyton Manning. It's not like they beat the Lions or the Jets. I mean, there's a whole lot more good than bad. But you're right. He gained a lot of weight. He said it. He said, I need to get in shape. And then somebody jokingly told me last night, Ronnie, this was pretty funny. He said, well, he probably walked in the quarterback room and said, time for me to go.
You walk in, first off, there's only one guy in the quarterback room because you don't have any of the others under contract or Jet Winston's hurt for that matter at that. You walk in and all you got is Taysom Hill, who, by the way, is hurt himself and not available for months. And you guaranteed him $21.2 million. You're on a hook. I mean,
that's the biggest mistake Sean Payton made.
Well, that's the thing is that, his legacy is not that the final chapter of Sean Payton isn't written yet until Taysom Hill and the Saints are a year or two down the road because, is that going to work out? You straddled the Saints with a non-franchise quarterback, a guy who obviously can get the job done. He went 4-1, I think, this year as a starter for the Saints. I mean, he can win games just like Teddy Bridgewater won 5 games in a row for the Saints when he took. You can win games in a short stretch with Taysom Hill. But number one, forget his talent, skill set, or anything like that. He can't stay healthy. Taysom's not going to stay healthy for an entire year because the way he has to play, where he moves the football is not something where you're going to be able to stay healthy in the NFL. So that said, regardless of what you think of Taysom Hill from a skill set standpoint, he's never proven that he can stay healthy an entire year in his life outside of just playing a handful of snaps a game. Rachel, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Craig, for watching. Don't forget, guys, like and share this video. Rachel says, no way he coaches again. He's going to be a broadcaster. Now, Rachel, we love Rachel. She helps us with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame on our board and everything else. Rachel, I'm going to let you keep your money because if not, I'd be willing to bet $1,000. Or if you want to, Rachel, if you're feeling good, we can swap Venmos. I bet you $1,000 that he coaches again. Yeah, he'll be a broadcaster for a minute. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Tommy, he'll be the first $20 million coach in the NFL. That's my prediction.
I agree with that. I mean, coaching's in his blood, and he's been very good. And, he worked in Green Bay, he worked in Philadelphia, he worked for the Giants, he worked for the Cowboys, and he made comments about all that yesterday. He's been around some damn good football people, okay? But I don't know about Dallas. Does he want to share stuff with that ass clown known as Jerry Jones? I mean,
right.
And I think everything he said yesterday makes the Saints job more attractive. Because I liked when he said, he would go to Dennis Lauska and Gail Benson and say, okay, I think we need this. And they would say, will that make us better? Do we have to have it? And then he said yes, and then they did it. Lauska had the credit card, Mrs. Benson that made the approval. And, so they always tried to be better. I think he definitely coaches somewhere in 2023. A lot of guys have jumped into TV. Tony Dungy, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Cowher. We can go on. And some of them stayed there. Some of them jumped in and went back, went back to coaching. Collegiately, Gene Chiswick's the defensive coordinator now in North Carolina after many years on TV. So I think coaching's in his blood. But don't write off being a general manager of an organization, a front office guy that have put together, a team and a front office to win a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes because he did it. I'm not going to rule that out. I haven't read that. That's just a little TK speculation for you.
Well, Charles Ramsey saying, recognizing yesterday's emotions during the press conference, what are your thoughts on Sean's broadcasting potential? I think he'll be great. I think anybody like Sean Payton or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or any of those greats are great if they're willing to tell it like it is. If they're willing to not have a filter, Tommy. If their first reaction is, "Ooh, I don't know if I should say that. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, that's my buddy. Oh, they only won 2 games. Dan Campbell's not doing good at the Lions. I'm doing the game. I'm Sean Payton. Oh, I don't want to say anything bad." Like you can't be that way. If you're that way, you're not going to do good.
I think he'd be better in a studio setting than doing a game. And he's never done this before. Keep in mind, he's never done it. And there's many that never did it. Zach Strief did wonderful with the play-by-play with the Saints. He just did it because he felt like doing it. And I thought he got better as he went. He did a good job. But, Sean Payton, the knowledge is there. I think the genuine is there, the football IQ, the people IQ. I mean, he can handle people. You look in that Saints locker room, there's 53 different personalities. And he's able to control that and lead and, to do your job thing and, the whole bit. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds for him. I liked when he said, Ronnie, he doesn't know what's next. And that's kind of exciting. Think about that. That's a profound statement. I mean, he's going to have lots of options.
Oh, tons of
exciting.
Yeah.
So that he can say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, whatever, But
look, listen, the term is Sean Payton broke up with the New Orleans Saints. He said, it's not you, it's me. That's what he did. He said, you've been great. You've given me everything I wanted. You've given me all the support I wanted. I've enjoyed my time. We had a good run, didn't we? But it's just time. I don't want to be married.
Well said, Ron. Well said.
And that's what he did. There's nothing wrong. And, hey, can we still be friends? And initially, yeah, we can be friends. And then over time, you don't call as much, you don't talk as much. And next thing you know, you look up and, oh, Sean's dating New England. Oh, look at New England. There he is, and that's it. And then one day you play New England and it's weird. It's awkward. You show up at the same restaurant. There's your ex and you're at the table next door. That's what's going to happen to the New Orleans Saints. And
Ronnie, that's very well said. And you're also correct. He'll be the first $20 million head football coach in the NFL or all football for that matter.
It's going to be a bidding war. Unbelievable.
Hey, Stephen, that's a good comment, but let me say this. The Saints are $74 million over the cap right now. 2 years ago, they were $138 million over the cap at this time. Mickey Loomis is the cap wizard. Trust me, he will figure it out. But, the quarterbacks, it starts with the quarterback. Look at the 4 teams that are still playing and the quarterbacks they have. Look at a couple of good quarterbacks that got beat in the playoffs. So it's about the quarterback. It's about scoring points, moving the ball up and down the field. And without a quarterback, you're going to be the Lions or the Jets or, whatever.
Chance saying it kind of feels like Saban all over again. Well,
no, it's different.
From a fan stand, I see what he's saying. It's a totally different scenario, but it feels like it. LSU's rolling. You just won a national championship a couple of years ago. You're feeling pretty good, and then all of a sudden your coach leaves for something else, just for a different challenge or a different opportunity, and it just kind of breaks your heart for a minute. So I get it from that. The scenario is completely different. A college coach going to coach NFL, make more money and all that. But from a fan standpoint of your coach leaving you and thinking, Oh, it's over. Hopefully the Saints have as good a bounce back as they did under Les Miles when they won a national championship, and 3 years after Nick Saban left. So let's hope it's actually in third season after Saban left, the Tigers won the national championship. So let's hope the Saints have some sort of good fortune just like that. Would you be willing, Tommy, to take the bet that if somebody would like I was talking to Wally Pontiff, Wally Pontiff Senior, and a couple of days ago, and Wally said that he thought that Sean Payton was retire and do other things, and that he was never coaching again. Would you be willing to bet someone that? Because I think absolutely he is coach. I don't even think I think it's silly to think he will never coach again.
I saw Wally Sunday at the first pitch banquet. We had a quick conversation, but not about that. But it was great to see him. No, Sean Payton's 58 years old, right? He just turned 58 a month ago, whatever it was. So you take that year off, recharge the batteries, lose a couple pounds, go spend time with your family. It's in his blood, man. Mick Jagger keeps jumping on the stage and singing, Sean Payton's going to coach again, okay? He's going to coach again. Where? Not certain where he might do that. Everybody thinks Dallas Cowboys, but that's not, guaranteed. But I would bet that in 2023 he's a head coach in the NFL.
Right. All right. So whatever's next for Sean Payton, we all think he's going to go do TV for a year, and then probably in a year or two at the most, he's back coaching in the NFL.
Well, here's the thing, Ryan. He's still under contract with the Saints.
Right.
He's got 3 years remaining, roughly $45 million. Do they make him like a special advisor to Mickey Loomis or a special advisor to Mrs. Gail Benson? Or does he have some kind of role there? That's all going to get worked out in the coming days, and they'll let us know. But I don't think he's walking away from $45 million, and Ms. Benson will, he's not going to have to worry about how to pay the electric bill. I can tell you that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some type of role with the Saints and dive into the TV world and find out if he's any good at it. There's no guarantee he'd be great on TV. There's no guarantee. I think he would be fine, but you still got to go do it. Just like he expects his players, he wants to see them do good things. You would want to see him do good on TV. And, I guess there's that little crack in the door that he jumped into TV and never went back, like John Madden did. He jumped into TV at an early age.
Bill
John
Cowher
was far younger than 58. Bill Cowher, these guys stayed,
Bill
got
Cowher,
into that comfort zone. But
Bill
I think
Cowher,
Peyton's a competitor, man. I know some people that when he was living in Mandeville, they go have coffee with him. I was never there, and he's a competitor. He wants to. If you play checkers against him, he's going to try to beat your ass, And so I think he's going to coach again.
Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson, both younger than Sean Payton when they retired, and they never coached again. As far as Sean Payton is concerned, and listen, Tommy, I'm telling you, there's a percentage in me that believes that there's a chance this cat wakes up in the summer and says, you know what, I'm ready for spring training. It doesn't take long for an alpha male type person like him to get tired of how many beach vacations can you take. Wow, I really love my wife but man, I didn't know I was going to be around her every day all the time as much as this, wouldn't shock me. It's not going to shock me if Sean Payton wakes up in the summer and says, I'm ready to coach somewhere and goes. The problem is the NFL determines what the Saints get for Sean Payton. What the compensation is one group, the NFL, and the NFL and Roger Goodell have never been good to the New Orleans Saints. So whatever you think they're going to get less. If you think they're going to get a first-round pick, they're going to get a second-round pick. And by the way, Bruce Arians did the same thing. He retired for a year or something with with Arizona, and Tampa Bay got a 6th-round pick, I believe. I believe it was a 6th-round pick for Bruce Arians. Now, Bruce Arians isn't Sean Payton, and he didn't, all that, but still. Only a 6th-round pick, so don't get your hopes up that it's an automatic done deal that the Saints are going to get a 1st or 2nd-round pick when Sean Payton resurfaces in a couple of years.
I think that's way down the list of importance, especially now. I think Saints fans need to thank you, Sean Payton. That's all you can say is thank you. You've left it better than you found it. You delivered a Super Bowl, which many New Orleanians and Saints fans around the world couldn't have dreamed of in the 70s and even the early 80s. It was like, hey, can we just have a winning season, And so he put the skin on the wall.
Yeah, I agree with that, Stefan. Without Breeze there, and then you throw on top of everything, the pandemic, the hurricane, et cetera, it was just a crazy, crazy year. Chance saying,
they played a home game in Jacksonville.
Right.
This was it went to Indianapolis for a week. this was stressful. This was a stressful time. And by the way, you got to coach a team, try to win football games. So hey, look, I felt refreshed after watching his 92-minute press conference. Like I said, I watched every word. I didn't answer the phone. I wasn't checking email and doing this or that. I was glued to it, and I was very impressed. He's a hell of a guy.
Dennis Allen is ready, according to Chance. Is it a done deal, in your opinion, that he's the next coach?
I don't know. That's up to Lauschka and Mickey Loomis and Gail Benson. I think it'd be a good idea, because their defense is solid and has been solid. They got a lot of talent over there, and they could bring somebody in to put an offense in to complement that defense. I would think it'd be a really good idea. I read that Dennis Allen interview with the Bears. He's like one of 11 people to interview with the Bears. Like, really, Chicago? You interviewed 11 people? Come on. Think about that. But anyway, so, Dennis Allen was a head coach, didn't have a lot of success, but that's not the first coach to not start off with a lot of success. Peyton Manning was awful his first year as a player in the NFL. Look at the result. Dean Smith, they wanted to fire him in North Carolina basketball his first couple of years, because he went on to become a legend. So I think it'd be a good move to go to Dennis Allen, but we'll see.
The situation with Dennis Allen, I think the fact that Sean Payton said in the press conference that he would like to endorse Dennis Allen goes a long way. I think the Saints right now, with everything the way it is, and the shock that came with Sean Payton leaving, and oh, by the way, they've got the bones of a good team. Clearly, they won 9 games without a quarterback and a kicker, and so they've got the bones. They've got a couple special players on offense, a couple special players on defense, and a good culture. And I think until that culture is ruined, until that culture changes, you want to keep that culture intact, because that's a hard thing to create in the NFL. So I do believe that Dennis Allen will be the coach, and hopefully they keep Pete Carmichael as the offensive coordinator. He's been the offensive coordinator for the last 13 years and been with the organization for 16, quarterback coach for 3 before that. I'd love to see Pete Carmichael stay. I feel like he's done a good job. How can you say he hasn't?
Well, see, Ronnie, this goes down that road that we just went through at LSU. You love for certain guys to stay, but, hey, name Dennis Allen coach, bring Drew Brees in as the offensive coordinator. What the heck? But, sometimes you got to change it all. But you're right, the culture is there. That building, the building, the physical building that Sean Payton kept referring to. He likes the building. Everybody in there, all the support staff, everybody's on the same page. And here's a story, right? I did radio work with the legend Hank Stram. Hank Stram told me in August one year, he walked into the office and the janitor was there very, very early. Okay, and the guy was emptying the garbage cans, and Hank Stram, he was coaching the Kansas City Chiefs. He said, "Man, what you doing here early?" He says, "Hey, if we're gonna win the Super Bowl, we got to do this right." Hank said he knew they were gonna win the Super Bowl because everybody in the building was on the same page. They won the Super Bowl the next year.
If Dennis Allen isn't the coach of the New Orleans Saints, if they decide to go in a different direction, I would think that the Saints would have almost their pick of the litter, because if you're a coach from the outside looking in and you want stability in an organization, you want a great community that loves your team and supports you, the Saints have kind of been the model program for the last 16 years under Sean Payton. players love playing in New Orleans. They love the Bensons. They get treated great. You see a lot of players leave and come back. You don't see many people leave and ever say anything bad about the organization. They might say something bad about the coach or whatever, because that's human nature. I mean, I played for Skip Burtman, the greatest ever to do it in college baseball. Not every former player loves Coach Burtman and thought he was the greatest coach in the world. You know who probably didn't? The guys who really didn't play much. You know, a lot of those guys were bitter, and that's going to be any coach anywhere, any franchise, any organization, any sport. So you have some of that, but for the most part, the Saints are a top 5 organization in football, and so I think you're going to have a lot of coaches that are interested in this job, and including Flores at Miami is an interesting guy that I would want to dig in on in a time where, you know, African American coaches, you know, there's a push to get them in coaching, to get them considered heavily and all that. Obviously, you have to interview multiple African-American coaches for every job opening. This guy proved himself already, and I'm a big fan of proven coaches that have won already and quarterbacks who have won already. I'll take them over unproven coaches any day of the week.
Well, Ronnie, you know, with Sean Payton stepping down, there are now 9 NFL jobs open. 9 out of 32. So the market's up if you want to be a coach, and you're going to get some interviews or whatever. So it'll be interesting to follow what goes forward for the New Orleans Saints in that category.
Chance saying maybe asshole Goodell will quit hating the Saints now that Sean Payton is gone. Remember, he suspended Sean for the 2012 season. Well, we'll find out, Chance, whenever Sean resurfaces with another franchise. Roger Goodell potentially is going to be who determines what the compensation is for the Saints. So we'll find out if he's forgiven them or not. Good morning, Steven. Also, a Chance saying the appeal to bring in a star quarterback might be lessened without Sean. No question about that, right? I mean, if you're –
it depends on who gets hired. It depends on who's hired and who's on the staff. I mean, in the NFL, that gets looked at more than college. You know, college, you want to play for LSU, the purple and gold. You want to play for Ole Miss, you know, hotty totty. But in the NFL, it's like, can I win a Super Bowl? Okay, they got coaches that can help me do that. I want to go there. New Orleans has always been attracted to free agents, and the front office of the Saints is among the best in the league. You know, people need to know that.
If the Saints have any hope of bringing in a big-name quarterback, whether it be a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers via trade, or whether it be, you know, any other proven commodity that's not a rookie drafted quarterback, you're going to have to make sure Michael Thomas is on board. Where Michael Thomas is today and what he's thinking about this organization and his future, and does he want to go? Is he going to all of a sudden have mystery illnesses again and things like that? To be determined. You're paying this guy nearly $20 million a year. He's a franchise wide receiver, and he didn't even play for you this past year, and yet you still finished able to beat 3 super teams and win 9 games. Michael Thomas is going to play a giant role in if you're able to go get any kind of quarterback, because if I'm Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or anybody, if I'm Jameis Winston, before I sign with the Saints, I'm going to want to have Mike, are you in? Are you okay with me coming? Are you excited about me coming to be your quarterback? Because the Saints don't have enough room with the cap situation, Tommy, to go out there and bring in other receivers. They can't go add another franchise. They got a franchise receiver. They just got to get him on the field.
Yeah, get him healthy, and those conversations you just mentioned, I'm pretty certain will all take place.
All right, predictions for the Saints in your opinion, Tommy. I mean, like, Dennis Allen, Aaron Glenn, Flores. I don't care. Dan Campbell leaves the Lions. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Under the current situation, with only one quarterback on the contract, that quarterback being Taysom Hill, you're $70 million over the cap. You know, you saw what the city's going through with COVID and the crime and everything else. What do you think is next for the Saints? Do you think they just kind of go through a couple of years of mediocrity before they maybe somehow right the ship when they get into a better cap situation?
I don't know if it's mediocrity with that defense and the young talent that's on that defense, Demario Davis and you know, the front line on defense. I think that's a pretty damn good starting point. And if you can bring in somebody that, you know, connects with Michael Thomas on and off the field and in the locker room, and you bring in a good quarterback, whether that's Rodgers or Wilson or whatever. Here's the other thing, right? The NFC South, okay? Carolina and Atlanta, a lot of question marks there, more than the Saints. Tampa Bay, what happens with Brady, and then is that going to go away? So I mean, it's a good division to jump into. Probably the most stable organization in the division is the New Orleans Saints, and that includes with Sean Payton stepping down.
We'll talk plenty about this tomorrow. LSU, Texas A&M men's basketball tonight at 8:00.
I didn't even see. What's the line on that, dude?
That game's SEC Network. LSU is a 9.5-point favorite.
They're a favorite? Does A&M have 5 players?
A&M must have some issues.
9.5. Wow.
They must have some issues with COVID and stuff that I'm not digging.
Yeah, that's a big one for Will Wade. He promised some changes, whatever that may mean. Does that mean Easton starts? We'll see. And the Tigers need a win. They need a win. They need a win, big time. If they would stumble in this one tonight, that's not good. So big night, 8:00 game. I'm gonna be watching tonight. Got some friends. We're already gonna get together and have a cold pop and watch the game. And a big one for LSU. And we are gonna do Sports Shorts Daily tomorrow instead of Friday. I'll be over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, and we'll have plenty of stuff for you there.
Darius Days, he's a decision. He's banged up with an injury. Obviously, they've lost 3 in a row, so Days is a question mark on whether he will play. Pinson, also, he missed his 4th game in a row last weekend against Tennessee. It steals he's also day-to-day. So Pinson, they missed big time. I mean, he was playing well when they were playing well. He goes out, they start to lose. So Pinson and Days both unlikely to play tonight. We will see. Somehow LSU still a 9.5-point favorite. All right, we'll talk plenty about hoops tomorrow. Enjoy your Black Wednesday. Enjoy your Sean Payton talk wherever you go. That's incredible. Tommy, what's going on over there at Court Street Cafe?
I got a special event here this Saturday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's called Galentine's Sip and Shop. And have a bunch of people. It's like a girls' night out. Get together under the lights on the patio here, and it's an annual event, Sip and Shop. If you go to the Court Street Cafe Facebook page, they have an event created. You can get all the info. Lots of people are going to be there. It's going to be a big crowd, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. this Saturday. Court Street Cafe, Port Allen, 805 Court Street. Again, check out that event. I'm going to post it a few times on Talking Sports with TK leading up to Saturday, and we'll remind people about it again tomorrow. But, hey, 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And don't forget Galentine's Sip and Shop, big annual event for the ladies. Hey, guys, you send the ladies to this event, you go do what you got to do. Right. Court Street Cafe. Check it out on Facebook and Instagram.
And this Saturday, Sports Shorts will be at LeBear's Casino. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning for more Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's.
Hold the Rope Radio will be Saturday 1 to 3 like we did a couple weeks ago, right on the heels of Sports Shorts Radio with Skip Burtman, Dan Canterbury, and myself.
Yeah, a lot of NFL football will be carrying on 104.5 ESPN on Sunday. That's why the schedule changed. All right, have a great one, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.